Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Train Sim World, and welcome back to the Rapid Transit DLC. So we've got one scenario left, and we can close out the scenarios part of Rapid Transit. So this is northbound, driving northbound service from Bitterfeld to the northern limit at Dessau. And I'm sure that this is, there's some lovely German pronunciation for this abbreviation right here. I don't know it, and I'm not going to mess with it. I have too much respect for the German language. I'm going to have a sip of Pepsi while we wait for this to load. Northbound. Welcome to Bitterfeld Station. From here, you'll be running an all stations stopping service north as far as Dessau, and then that abbreviation. You got it. 72 yards. Climb aboard. We can do that. Hi, folks. Good morning. Hello. Nice to see you. Hello. Morning. Right. Climb up steps. Get inside here. Close the door. Driver's seat. Open the doors on the left side. So I did another service yesterday. The same service. What time is it? It's 5:13. Some lights on here. Let's go dimmed beam. Cabin lights. Cabin lights off. Reading lights. Those are the ones I like. Yeah. So I did a parallel service to this yesterday. Also a 45-minute scenario. And I was able to hit every stop within about 15 or 20 seconds. I did have an issue with the doors at one point. And because of that, I left that station about a minute late. But I was able to make up a little time. And eventually I got all green checks at the end. Wait until 17:15, so we have about a minute. So I was able to get all green checks by the end. But I found that the only way to do it was to really be aggressive with the throttle and brake, which I'm not opposed to. I'm an American. I'm more than happy to be aggressive with the throttle and brake. I guess I was still just thinking way back to Microsoft Train Simulator, however long ago that was, and how there, particularly on the Acela route, there was a passenger comfort rating, and how they would ding you for that. But I've just been going lead foot out of the station. Now stopping, I'm a little bit more careful. And I think the reason for that is, it's like we all know on some level that vehicles stop a lot more suddenly than they start, or they can anyway. Lock the train doors. Give it a little toot toot. Give it a little. And then here we go. Brakes off. Brakes are off. And then, yeah, man, I just gun it. And this is the only way that I've found to be on time. If you're aware of another way to stay on schedule, I'm happy to try it. But this is the only one that I found. I don't really like the way it feels. It feels too aggressive. But, you know, you do what you got to do to get those passengers where they need to get to. So this will close out Rapid Transit. Now there are two scenarios. There are two 120-minute scenarios left in the CSX Heavy Haul, like the actual CSX Heavy Haul part of the sim. One of them is loading a coal train. I've seen some YouTubers do that one, and you know I don't time lapse. And you know I don't edit. I don't skip ahead. I think the best solution to that might be that we just pick up that scenario from when the train is loaded. And I'll tell you why. I tried last week, I tried the ice and snow scenario, and you can see it's on the channel right now, but it's 2 parts. It was supposed to be 4 parts. And the speed limit is all over the place. It was supposed to be 4 parts. It was 180 minutes, which is 3 hours. And it was supposed to be 4 episodes of 45 minutes apiece. I had to quit. I did 2 45-minute episodes. The third one, I swear, man, we were just, nothing happened. We just drove a train over a hill in the fog, looking out the window in the fog. And even if you went third person, now you're just outside the train, looking at a train in the fog, which is lovely. It's lovely. But, I mean, come on, man. That's not working for anybody. It's not working for me as a gamer. I enjoy playing it, but come on, nobody wants to see that. So, concentrating. Right. So what I'm saying is, I don't have any problem doing I believe it's the Powering America scenarios. There's 2 of them. They're both 120 minutes. One of them is loading. One of them is driving the train the full length of the route. So I think for the loading part, maybe I do the loading off camera and then we pick up after the train is loaded. I don't know. Because I know that ice and snow scenario, man, that wasn't working for anybody. Wait until 17:19. Okay, so we're just slightly ahead of schedule. Maybe. I'm going to have another sip of Pepsi. And I'm hoping now to be done with all the scenarios. Just as a round number. I mean, I know there are a couple in Great Western. You know. We're just crossing things off the list. I try to make the content as interesting as I can. I want it to be interesting. But I know some of it really, you know. But I do my best with it, and I want to get all these scenarios crossed off our list so we can be ready for the West Somerset DLC. And I don't have a date on that. I just saw the announcement for it, I think, on May 1st, which is about a week ago, give or take. So as soon as that West Somerset DLC comes out, I want to be teed up to do an episode of it. And I feel like, I mean, I can always do West Somerset before we're done with all the other scenarios. We've mixed these scenarios in. We didn't do them one DLC at a time. So I could certainly hop on West Somerset and then come back and then go here, and you get what I'm saying. But I would like to finish off these DLC. And this is Train Sim World in general, and then CSX Heavy Haul and the DLC. They're great. I definitely recommend it. It's well worth the price of the DLC. And I would also say that knowing Dovetail, there are going to be a lot more DLC. And I'm going to try to choose my words very specifically here. I feel like if you didn't stay caught up with the DLC for Train Simulator, not that you had to buy all of it, but it's like if you got behind the curve, you got to a point where there was too much of it to even evaluate. I mean, there were hundreds of them. And to go through there and try to figure out, which one do I want? Which one do I want to play? Which one do I want to get? Oh, if I get this one, I don't need this one. Oh, this one includes these. Just all of it. I feel like that's like you get behind the 8 ball, in a sense. when it comes to handling the DLC when there are 300 DLC for one app. So I feel really fortunate to have sort of gotten in at the beginning of Train Sim World, and to be able to see, now we're early. We're gonna get dinged for this. Oh, you're kidding me. As late as I've been, as many times as I've played this sim, I think now we're too early. Well, we'll see. Anyway, I just feel like being out in front of the DLC gives you the opportunity to evaluate them as they're released, rather than going to the website and trying to scan through and evaluate hundreds of DLC. Like I said, some of which are very, very similar to one another. So, we'll see. Happy about this though, and pleased with this sim, and I can't recommend it enough. And it took a while, honestly. It's a different kind of sim. I mean, it's a train simulator. It's a I feel a better execution of train simulator. Try to skip over the light pole so it doesn't jump. It's got the collision, right? Like a lot of big world sims do. Where if you go behind something, it moves the camera in front of it. It gives you that bounce. But very similar to Train Simulator, obviously. Better, I think. Newer, obviously, the graphics are better. But it just has a different feel to it, and I like it in a way that I never liked Train Simulator. So can't recommend it enough. It's fantastic. And it does go on sale on Steam periodically, and there are also packages you can get, buy a couple things together, and save yourself some dough, right? I think it's going to ding us for being early. So we might... No, I don't want to do that. I was thinking we should slow down a little bit, but I don't want to do that. $26. Yeah, I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like the temptation, we've been early twice. I think we were early enough at one station that we might get dinged for it. Although I don't see how, because we didn't interfere with any traffic in front of us. Right? You see what I'm saying. You get me. I know I drove very aggressively yesterday, and I nailed every stop. And I just feel like that's the way to do it. I think we're gonna go. Yeah. I'm beginning to form this like rudimentary chart, I guess, as far as when I need to start braking from what speeds. And it's a little bit different. It's different for different trains, different conditions, uphill, downhill, that sort of thing. But I feel like I'm beginning to form like a I don't know, like a gut feeling almost of when we need to stop. A little bit late on that one. Sorry, folks. You know what? You can walk. It'll do you good. Right. Yeah. Well, we got the whole train on the platform, and we're in a single, not a double. Fantastic. So yeah, man. Um, that's about it. Tuesday morning here. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, it is. I don't even know what day it is anymore. When I'm on the road, lose track of time and lose track of everything. Right. Wait until 26:30. Yeah, we're about 10 seconds ahead of time, ahead of schedule. I don't think we can be lollygagging. Now, Germany being Germany, I'm curious if they built a like a passenger comfort limiter, like a buffer almost, into the controls of the train to essentially say, you know, you go ahead and stomp the throttle. I call it a throttle. I realize it's electric. You can go ahead and stomp the throttle out of the station, and it still won't bounce the passengers around. Like the train will limit itself to a specific acceleration. Maximum G's is what I'm talking about. Don't know. And I say, you know, Germans would do that. I could also see like the Swiss doing that. I could see Canadians doing that. I don't see like Italians doing that. Right. And I've also got, you know, I've been messing with my volume. You know I have. And I've decided that what I'm going to do is get my settings dialed in Shadowplay and then adjust each app individually, right, to work for the settings that are already in Shadowplay. But what that means is if I've found a good setting in a game, I'm just going to leave it, not mess with it every time we start that sim. So I know for TSW, I've got the volume down a little bit so that the diesel locomotives aren't too loud. But I know that can make the electric locomotives a little too quiet. You see that? We almost missed that one. We almost did. Oh golly. Whew. Okay. Wow. I went third person and I was outside dilly dallying around and I just happened to look up at the HUD and saw that we were just a few hundred yards away. Wow. Okay. Living and learning, baby. You know, that's us every day, living and learning. I'm going to have a sip of Pepsi. Right. It's the best thing about living in America is, well, it's not the best thing. I guess the best thing would be like, I don't know, probably voting or something. Freedom, guns, Rocky Mountains, I don't know. But a very nice thing about living in the United States is there's Pepsi everywhere and different places that I've lived in the world. You can always get Coke. Oh, you can get Coke everywhere. Pepsi, not so easy. A lot of places you can get Pepsi, but not like you can get Coke. You can get Coke anywhere. So, being a Pepsi drinker myself, I feel very fortunate that I can get a hold of some Pepsi. Right. Lock the doors. Give a little toot. Brakes off. And here we go. So we have what? 3 minutes, 2 miles from a dead stop. Yeah, it's a tight schedule, man. It really is. It's sort of unforgiving. And I need to figure out what all this stuff does. There's a lot of tech on this train, man. A lot of tech. Right. Yeah, I don't know any other way to stay on time other than to really be aggressive. You know what's crazy about this route? Like when you look at the map of it, it's hard to tell which parts are above ground and which parts are below. I feel sometimes like, half of it goes under the city center, and then other routes you do, and it looks like you're on the same route, but you never really go underground at all. Right. 34. So we're ahead of schedule again. Okay. Hey man, I don't mind being ahead of schedule. I'll take it. I'm also, and I think I may have mentioned this in another video, I'm also curious if there's any system, like of all the things that you think you could do driverless, you would think that trains would be like the number one thing that you could have a driverless system, and I'll tell you why. With cars, right? With cars and trucks, things could be coming from anywhere, man. Things could be coming from here, from there. You got lefts and rights, you got people turning in front of you, you got all kinds of crazy stuff. With trains, you don't have that. So, like a system administrator for a rail network can know which trains can interfere with which other trains. And also with traffic, with like car and truck traffic. Oh, nope, 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 nope. We're going to keep loading. With car and truck traffic, you go where you want, but with train traffic, again, if you've got somebody running a rail network, they control the switches, they decide where the trains go, right? And then the other thing is, and I guess you could do this with cars, but it's easier to do it with trains, is you can control the speed remotely. And you can't necessarily do that with cars. All right, so those are closed. And then we go. We go? Yeah, we're going. You see what I'm saying, right? So it would seem like if there was any system that you could automate, it would be a rail system. And that makes me wonder, obviously you have to have an operator on board. I get that. I'm not talking about fully autonomous. But it makes me wonder why maybe there already is a system where the trains stop themselves on the platform. Like the trains know how to handle it. You know what I'm saying? Because if that was the case, then every train would hit the mark on the platform every single time. And you'd also have like those creepy drone swarms. I don't know if you've seen those videos of like drones flying in formation. Oh, it's so creepy. They look like little bugs. Ugh. But if you had, every train sort of communicating with every other train and knowing, knowing where trains were and how fast they were going and what their destination was and what they were going to do next, then they could all sort of coordinate with one another, right? And then you wouldn't have any conflict. You wouldn't have trains, slowing down because they needed to wait for the one in front of them. They would know that. And when I say no, I'm talking about coding. I'm not suggesting trains have, consciousness or anything, but a train could be set up in a way that if there were going to be other trains on the tracks in front of it, rather than accelerating and then slowing down, it could just travel at a uniform speed, timed to get it to where it needed to get to without running up behind the train that was in front of it, if that makes sense. So you just make it smoother and more comfortable for the passengers, and also less chance of a collision because it's maintaining greater clearance rather than getting up close and then slowing down. Right. Just trying to tickle my speed limit here. And I think I've said this before as well. I'm messing with SweetFX and Reshade on some sims. I don't even think this one needs it. I mean, that skybox, that could use a little work. Between me and you, that skybox is But other than that, man, I don't feel like these graphics need any work at all. I feel like the darks are dark. Good bloom. Go back inside for this. The darks are dark, nice and crisp, good bloom. The draw distance, I have to say, is not maybe, I wouldn't mind seeing that push out a little bit. Tell you what, end of this episode, we'll go in and take a look at graphics settings. Maybe I can bump that up a little bit. But at the same time, we're holding concentrating. Oh, they want me right at the end of the thing. Oh. I'll take a look outside. I think I took the front of the unit. No, I didn't. Perfect. So we're at 36. I mean, looking down from above. Oh, hang on. Gotta drive. 43. Can we depart now? I think that's what that means. Right. So looking down from above, we're at 39 to 45 FPS. In the cab looking forward, we're at 30 to 35 FPS. And that's typical, I think. In a big world game, in a big world sim, what I think of as a big world sim, when you're looking horizontally, the app has to render a lot of textures and scenery. When you're looking down from above, there's a lot fewer, right? And that's true of any sim. So the draw distance, I think, is always going to be... I would love to be at 60 FPS right now. I really would. My next system, there's no reason I couldn't be. But where I am right now on a GTX 1050, I think on this sim, 30 is going to have to be the compromise between speed and graphics, speed and quality. We'll take a look at the end of the episode. After we complete the scenario, we'll take a look and see if we can't bump anything up and maybe push out that draw distance. It's not bad. It's really only the tracks. Like when we go here, I think it's pretty obvious. In here, a little bit less so. It is dark though, or sort of dark. We've got to going to 81. Okay, so we're at 75, and then we're going to 81. I think we're fixing to go underground here somewhere soon too. I do like the underground stuff in this. I like I guess what I think of as the subway sections of the route. (43) 15 seconds. Okay, so we're going to be just a few seconds late, I suspect. Right. 10 seconds late. Oy. You know, they want you within, I think, they want you within a minute. And I have to say, having been in Germany, I think that's a pretty generous timetable. Probably appropriate for the game. Right? Like you can't make it impossible. It's only a game. Nobody cares. Wait a minute. It said 45 minutes. Hang on. That's not right. No. No, no, no. Other way. We haven't been here 45 minutes, have we? No. Wow, okay. That was a quick 45 minutes. So we leveled up a little bit. We hit our stops. Let's take a look at graphic settings. Main menu. Settings. Graphics. View distance, yeah. And we're capped at 60. Okay, folks, thanks so much for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Train Sim World Rapid Transit DLC. And we'll see you next time. Take care now.